story we have been following throughout the past 2 days surrounds the superstar herself, Caitlin Clark, the WNBA star, the Indiana Fever star, Caitlin Clark. She's going to miss all the action on the court.
Caitlin Clark gets hurt, and guess what? Your demand vanishes because people ain't going to pay up to see these athletes that are ungrateful that their sport's growing. People aren't paying up for that. And we are here, right here. The tickets for this game, for this All-Star game, they've dropped by 50%.
What was meant to be a celebration of Caitlin Clark's rise in Indianapolis has unexpectedly spiraled into a public relations setback for the WNBA. A towering 34-story banner of Clark was unveiled on the JW Marriott, symbolizing the city's hopes for historic attendance and economic boost. But instead of packed arenas and festive energy, the All-Star weekend was met with empty seats and growing fan frustration. The big question now: how did the league let a hometown tribute to its brightest star collapse into a missed opportunity? Even more pressing, WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert finally broke her silence on the growing concerns around inconsistent officiating during the All-Star events. Her comments have only added fuel to the debate about how the league handles its most marketable players. Do you think the WNBA is doing enough to support its stars? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This conversation isn't over.
When you come to Indianapolis, look, this is what everybody's been talking about. This right here, Caitlin Clark, the banner right there on the JW Marriott. Is 34 stories banner unbelievable. Is the largest banner ever on the JW Marriott. You may think about the bracket. Remember back in the NCAA tournament back in 2021? Yeah, it's bigger than that as well. 113,000 square feet. It is unbelievable. And you see what it says: from downtown in my town. No doubt, this is something that is grabbing everyone's attention. And who else better to be on that than the star herself, Caitlin Clark.
Indianapolis spent months gearing up for what was expected to be the most iconic WNBA weekend ever. A full-scale replica of an all-star court was installed at the airport to welcome fans, while local businesses prepared by boosting inventory and hiring additional staff. When tickets first dropped, Gainbridge Fieldhouse sold out within hours. The buzz was undeniable. Level tickets started at $121, with average resale prices hitting $262 and premium seats going for thousands. According to TickPick, it marked the highest ticket demand in WNBA All-Star Game history.
Really unfortunate that Caitlin Clark missed it. The crowd would have been exploding. The crowd would have been exploding. The arena would have been exploding. Oh man, a big miss as far as the WNBA is concerned.
Then came July 17th. News of Caitlin Clark's injury broke online, and everything shifted instantly. Within hours, the ticket market began to unravel. Those $262 average resale prices, they plummeted to just $64, an astonishing 75% drop. Panic set in among sellers, especially those who had treated their tickets as investments. The get-in price, once $121, fell to around $65, and even then, demand was nowhere to be found. It wasn't a slow decline, it was a real-time financial collapse playing out on social media. Hour by hour.
From $121 all the way down to just $64 after news broke that Caitlin Clark won't be playing. These are people saying, I'm done. I don't want to watch. Caitlin Clark's not. I bought tickets solely to watch Caitlin Clark in the All-Star game. I made accommodations solely to get to Indiana to watch Caitlin Clark in the All-Star game. She's injured. I have no interest in that anymore. People are selling their tickets so much so they just want off of them. 121, okay. You want it for 100? Oh no, okay. I guess I gotta lower it to 80. Oh, you don't want to buy it for 80? Okay, I guess I'll lower it to 70. You don't want to buy it to 70? I guess I'll lower it to $64. The WNBA is paying attention to these trends, and they're seeing firsthand what Caitlin Clark is worth to this league.
What makes this even more painful is that the warning signs were already there. A similar pattern had played out earlier in the season, just never at this scale. When Clark sat out in May due to a quad strain, ticket prices for her road games took noticeable hits. Washington saw a 47% drop, and the highly anticipated Chicago matchup fell by 71%. But those were regular season matchups. This was the All-Star game in her hometown. The stakes were higher. And the collapse, unlike anything the league had seen before, was historic.
The ticket prices. The demand fell off a cliff. And it's not just the on-court product that suffers without number 22, Caitlin Clark. The entire weekend's economic opportunities have felt the fallout.
For the first time all season, Gainbridge Fieldhouse was on the verge of not selling out. Let that sink in. A venue that had been packed for nearly 2 straight years of Indiana Fever games was now facing rows of empty seats during what was supposed to be the biggest basketball weekend in Indianapolis since the NBA All-Star Game. The financial impact was immediate and unforgiving. Local vendors who had poured thousands into All-Star-themed merchandise braced for major losses. Restaurants and hotels, once preparing for record foot traffic, were now dealing with a wave of cancellations. The ripple effect swept through downtown as the city came to terms with a harsh new reality.
But when it comes to the vendors in the arena, the shops in the arena, they're not going to have the same amount of people patronize their business as they would if Caitlin Clark was there. The surrounding restaurants, the surrounding areas, the surrounding attractions, they're not going to have the same number of people patronize their business as they would if Caitlin Clark was healthy.
This wasn't just about one player missing one game. It was a wake-up call. Fans sent an unmistakable message about who truly drives interest in the WNBA. When other stars go down, the market doesn't react like this. But when Clark was ruled out, ticket values tanked overnight. The implication was clear: without her, the All-Star Game lost its appeal. And in that collapse, a deeper truth was exposed, one the league has been hesitant to confront. The historic surge in attendance and revenue this season wasn't spread across the board. It was riding on the shoulders of one player. Without Caitlin Clark, those record-breaking numbers suddenly felt a lot more fragile.
This year, for the second time ever, the WNBA All-Star Game was supposed to feature an actual star. Normally, this celebration of pretend basketball features players that no one's ever heard of.
Caitlin Clark's groin injury wasn't some random accident. It was the predictable outcome of months of increasingly aggressive play that went unchecked. Opponents had learned they could grab, shove, and body her without drawing whistles. And game after game, officials let it slide. The lack of consistent officiating didn't just impact fairness, it created an environment where injury felt inevitable.
How did we get to an all-star game in Indiana where Caitlin Clark is not healthy enough to play? Well, it all started last year, in her rookie season, where she received 20% of all the flagrant fouls in the league. And most of them came from Angel Reese in the Chicago Sky. And these weren't basketball plays. They were not only fouling her, but they were getting up, laughing about it, laughing about Caitlin Clark getting assaulted. Any other work environment, people go to jail for what's going on.